Hello, everyone. This is Brian Ankney with Auto Success Magazine. I appreciate you taking the time to come out today and join Fran Taylor and myself. Today we're going to cover a multitude of topics, but what we're going to focus on is where you get started, to move yourself from wherever you might be right now to 30-plus sales per month. Fran and I are going to cover, a lot of topics, so please take notes. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat function on the side of your screen, and at the end of the presentation, Fran and I will address all the questions. Fran, you want to just go ahead and get us started?
Absolutely. First of all, thanks everybody for joining in. And I get questions asked a lot of time. Hey, what do I do to get started right away, or what's the best prospecting tool to get, and different things like that. So I'm going to cover a couple different topics that it's crucial if you want to get to 30 cars a month. Now, you don't have to be an old pro to do 30 cars a month. We've had rookies do 30 cars a month. In fact, we have several. So turn to your books on page 7, and that's the goal setting. The managers might be page 9. But this might not make sense to you, but just follow with me a little bit. If you're coming to work and you don't know what the mission is, you're out of focus. The 11 goals I have is going to change your life. Now listen, you have to write down things that you want that money can buy. Now, don't misunderstand me. Success is spiritually, physically, socially, family, financially. But I'm just talking the financial part. I see people coming to work all the time to make some good money, but they don't have nothing to show for it, therefore their attitude's bad. If you want to have a good attitude all the time, you need to know what you're doing and get specific at it. What I mean by being specific, it takes discipline to be successful in any business, not just the car business. So when you're coming to work, when you get paid, you have to put your money away in different accounts. And you'll see there where I have prospecting as one of the goals that you have there in a book. It's the second one. Now listen, when you have a business, and you do have a business within a business, every time you get paid, you put some money in that prospecting account. Now we have a young speaker speaking next month. I told him he flew from Dallas to Chicago, and I said, bring your wife with you. She can come free, but I promise you it'll change your life. So the young man brought her up there, and he went from selling 15 cars a month to 34 and a half, and he made $30,000, all because some of the stuff made sense. And if those of you that are married out there, have the spouse sit down and write down 11 with you, or at least help complete the 11, because the two shall become one. Now listen, that's a big chore for some of you, and you're allowed to have more than 11, but make sure you get that done. Do not write, pay bills, pay off loan, pay off car. You have that. I'm talking about something that you don't have. When the want overcomes the need, that's when you're going to start to have a good attitude. And in a couple of months, you'll have all that little stuff out of the way. You may write down dishwasher, lawnmower, who cares, new refrigerator. It doesn't matter. They're little goals. I'm talking once you get those out of the way, what you're basically doing is teaching yourself to become more financially successful. How can you have a bad attitude when you see yourself becoming financially successful? It's just like if you want to go on vacation. Take your biggest commission check or your biggest commission and put it in your vacation goal. Watch what happens in a couple of months. $5,000-$6,000 is nothing if you stop and take a look at it. But the main thing there is the prospecting account. You have to put money in those prospecting accounts every single time or you lose. It's just like when you deliver a car. If you don't have your different prospecting tools on that car, you lost. What I mean by that is, the sold by stickers. Okay, on the running boards or where you lift your foot up to get in to sit down. I put those on all the door jambs and the gas tank lid. I have my key ring, not just the dealership's key ring, but my name. You see, I don't want them to come in to see ABC Motors. I want them to come see Fran Taylor at ABC Motors. Are you with me? And then, of course, you want to have magnets with your picture on it, and so when the customer gets in their refrigerator, they see your name. So they won't send a customer to ABC Motors. They're going to send a customer in to see you at ABC Motors. turn to page 68 in your books. Okay, that's just some prospecting tools. Okay, I'm just going to make a big circle here. I'm going to show with you, hey, here's the goals, here's what to buy, and then here's what you'll get. Now, these are just some ideas what I had. I mean, I have a lot more in our videos. By the way, they're at frantaylor.net if you want to check them out. Everybody should have those because it took me a little over 2 years to get to 50 cars a month. Now, that seems like a lot, but if you stop and take a look at it, every time you get prospecting tools, that's 1 or 2 sales a month. I mean, stop and think. If you have 10 prospecting tools, you start the month off with 20 cars. But you have to let it go. Just because you get the prospecting tools, 2 things. Number 1, it takes time, so it's going to take 18, 20 months, okay? Unless you're crazy like Doug Hilliard did. He went and bought, Lord knows, thousands. It's just like the gentleman speaking in Dallas. He spent $4,500 right off the bat. So if you have that kind of money, go for it, and obviously you'll get quicker and better results real fast. But you know, my big thing is I had the $100 in the back of my business card, okay? And there again, just because you have to have tools doesn't mean you're going to be successful. You have to know how to give them out. What I mean by that is like if you're allowed to pay referrals in your state and check with all the laws in your state or check with your managers, make sure everything's all legit, okay? So when I went out every day, I'd say, hello, how are you? And people would say, pretty good, and you? And that's when I'd say, better if I could sell a car or two. Who do you know looking? Oh, nobody. That's when you turn your business card over with the $100 on the back. Some guys have $200. Okay, and I'd say, well, I help make people's car payments and house payments because they send me customers. Could you use a couple $100 a month? In 30 years, I've never heard anybody say no. So when they say, yeah, that's when you say, well, great. How'd you like to work for me? And then start the conversation. You see, do the math. If you really truly need to make money, do the math. If you talk to 15 people a day, that's 450 a month. If you got a 3% close ratio, that puts you 13 for the month just by getting off your rear and going outside and talk to people like I did. You see, once I learned there was more money outside the dealership than will ever be there in your biggest sale. Same way with customers. There's more customers outside ready to buy that's ever going to be there during your biggest sale. You just have to go get them. So by starting the goal setting, and have invest in yourself by putting a couple $100 in prospecting every month, okay, and just make it like a bill. Just pay it every month. By the time you get 8 or 10 tools working for you, your money's going to come back many, 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 many times. And I'm living proof that you don't have to be selling cars for a long time to make a lot of money. And but for those of you just starting out and don't have a lot of money like I did, I didn't have a lot, so I just did the things that made me money. Okay, so I went out and talking to people every day because I didn't have a lot of money. The second thing I did is I had polo shirts made, and I actually had sweatshirts made that said in the front and back, it said, hey, need a new or used car, see me, Fran Taylor, ABC Motors, 545-4726. And I can't tell you how many times I'd be standing someplace and somebody would say, hey, you got any trucks over there? Why, sure. You see, spend a little, make a lot, spend nothing, make nothing. So listen, you got to get away from them dirty bad habits you have, or if you're green, you don't have any bad habits. But listen, all the money is just doing the simple things that work. Spend more time on the things that make you all the money and less time on the things that don't. The reason why a lot of people stand around in those little huddles outside and don't make any money, and they're bitching and complaining about the inventory, advertising, weather, economy, you name it, they're going to come up with the answer. The reason why they're standing outside is they don't have any goals for the most part. Because if you have goals, you're going to be sitting inside doing your mailers, your phone calls, you're going to be working, and you're going to be making money, you're going to have a better attitude. The difference is you won't make no 40, 50,000. Are you with me there? The point I'm trying to get at is spend some money to make money. Excuse me. It's 100% deductible anyway. It's like those sweatshirts and stuff. They cost you $30. You'll make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for $30. To me, that was a good investment. Okay. So on page 68 there, that's a magnet there on the bottom left. Okay. Now when you have these magnets, again, like I said, when you deliver a car, you want to get your name seen several million times a year. Now, bear with me here. Try and make sense. Make sure you write notes on this. You want your picture on any prospecting tool you possibly can. I can't tell you how many times somebody would come in the dealership and say, hey, I forget the guy's name, but that's him right there. Okay, that's good enough for me. That means the prospecting work. What you can't do is you can't track prospecting. In other words, it's very difficult to say, well, this guy came in because I had magnets. This guy came in because I had stickers made. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So it works. You just got to give it time to work. The reason why everybody knows prospecting works, there is a few salespeople in the world that don't have to take any ops, and they're making a lot of money. The people that are working 40 hours or less, and they're still doing 40 cars a month. I mean, they've been on our webinars before. And to be honest with you, I'm on a group that they said it's impossible to do that. Well, you need to get away from them and start listening to guys like us and the people in my group, this 30 Sales a Month group. There's some awesome people there. And what's really special is, hey, they're selling all kind of products, Ford, Chevys, imports, domestics. They're in big towns, little towns. I mean, they're all across the United States. And once you get that attitude going, like, hey, every time you get paid, you have the discipline enough to put a little bit of money away for each one of those accounts. You put money in that prospecting account to buy you more leads is what it is. I mean, you get 8 or 10 things working for you. It's impossible not to sell cars, you know. And the other thing, too, that if you're just starting out, if you don't have a lot of money, get on Facebook. Facebook's free. There again, I mean, I know what it's like. When I started, I didn't even have a car. But that was no excuse. What I found out real quick is, hey, there's a lot of money selling cars. So I really didn't have any desire to go back to do roofing and concrete. What's your mission coming to work? I had a guy made $60 million in 1988, changed my life. He said, other than God, what's the most important thing you have? Thinking like a businessman. Well, I said family. And he just shook his head. I said, okay, what is the answer? And he said, separate business and family. The most important thing you have, thinking like a business person, is time. Fran, you spend more time doing the things that other people don't, you'll have an abundance of money. Therefore, you'll have all the time you want with your family. So when you're at work, time is crucial. And if you're standing outside jibber-jabbing to somebody, you are wasting not only your time, but you're wasting everybody's life too. Because if you're there, and especially if you're married, you're responsible for everybody. And what the stuff I'm talking about doesn't take much time at all. The problem is most people don't do it. You get a whole bunch of prospecting tools working for you, the better it gets. Now, there's two kinds of prospecting: looking for new customers and taking care of old. You want to take care of your old customers first, especially if you're just starting out. What I mean by that, they're going to send you referrals. You don't get a lot of repeats the first year, but you will get some. Not many, but you maybe get maybe the wife needs a car, maybe some of the children are old enough and they're still with mom and dad and they need a car. You'll get some. But once you get that 20 months in, now it really starts to take off. And I'm telling you, I know what it's like. And be careful where you get your information from. I won't mention names, but some of these other trainers have only sold 15, 18 cars a month. They'll never, ever understand the experience from this prospecting when you go in on a Saturday like I did and you don't have an appointment and you ended up selling 7 cars and spotting 6. I can tell you from my heart, I know exactly what that's like. So be real cautious who you get your information from. Taking care of old customers, I would get key rings, magnets, and put the sold by stickers on. The sold by stickers say sold by Fran Taylor, ABC Motors. That's it. And get big print. Put it the biggest print you possibly can on the car. And you can't just put the sticker on without telling them about it. You have to tell the customer what's going on. You have to program the customers to use the prospecting tools, or they're not anywhere near successful as you want them to be. So when you get in the car, when you're delivering a car, I would tell the customer, Mr. Smith, see this, and touch it. Reach down and touch it with your finger. Just say, hey, tell them, hey, you don't see it when you're driving, you don't see it when you're not driving, so I put it here. Just to remind you, hey, if you ever have a problem or concern, here's where to get a hold of me. And if you don't have a problem or concern, you give me a call. It's worth $100 if you know somebody looking for a car. Same way with the key rings. Okay. Now, when you mail out a magnet, and tell them same thing. Hey, put this on your fridge. If you ever need me for anything, here's how you contact me. And so you have to remind them to do it. If you don't, they throw it in the trash. And what happens in a short time? They're going to come looking for you. I know what it's like. People will crawl out of the woodwork, and they're going to come looking for you. But there again, that's what you want. And the other thing, what you want to do, soon as you can, fast as you can. Now, just remember this: you don't have to sell somebody a car to put them in a birthday system. Now, it's unfortunate because I know a lot of CRMs and companies, and I'm not going to mention names, but they don't work because you can't put the whole family in there. They only allow you to put the buyer in there. So whether you want to get cloud or do it on some system you have, or you have to have a system to put the whole family in your birthday system. Turn to page 75 in my book. Okay? That's a delivery check sheet. Now listen, this is crucial, and again, this doesn't cost you anything. When I'm delivering a car, I would ask the customers, are you on Facebook? Oh, yeah. You have to sell them on the idea why they should allow you to be their friend. So when I would say, yeah, you're on Facebook? Yeah, great. Can I be your friend? And I won't bombard you every day with a sale or a big rebate or 0%. None of that. I'll just be your friend. Is that cool? If they say yes, okay, make sure you put them in your Facebook as a friend. Okay, when you drop down underneath that, you see birthday. Okay, listen, here's where a lot of people make a lot of mistake. If you sell 10 cards a month, and if you just put the buyer in there, it'll take you 9.5 years to get 1,000 names in there compared to me a little over a year because I put the whole family in there. I put the wife in, put the kids in there, just put everybody in there and say, what do you want my kids for? Well, they're going to buy a car someday, right? Yeah, well, might as well be for me. I hope you're going to come with them, right? Oh, yeah. And just send them a birthday card. Now, listen, I'm sure anybody's been in business for a while, you're going to find a salesman says, oh, I sold them a car, I sold their kids a car, and I sold their kids a car. Okay, now that's how prospecting is supposed to work. It's never, ever going to work that way if you don't go prospecting. And all you have to do is just send them a card. Can you imagine a 13-year-old little girl gets a birthday card from a car guy, and then here it is 3 years later, she's still getting cards? I promise you, when it comes time for her to get a car, some of them are going to say, hey, well, let's go send that guy a card, or go see that guy that sends me all the cards. I'm sure Dad will come in there. Okay, and if you drop down the middle of the sheet, okay, here's the other stuff that most people forget to do. Okay, and that's give out prospecting tools. So it reminds you to send out a thank you for buying letter or a card. And if you're going to do that, make sure you put a magnet in there. Okay, it reminds you to put your sold by stickers on the car, give your customers key rings, give your customers magnets. And then if you're not doing the next one, then you should do that every time. Because stop and think about it. You sell 10, 12 cars a month. If you asked everybody for referrals, like so on the bottom of that sheet on page 75. Hey, all my customers leave me names of somebody that's in the market looking to buy a new or used car. I appreciate you do the same. Excuse me, I'll be right back. And you get up and walk away for a minute or two. Don't sit there and stare at them and make them feel bad. Some are going to fill out, some won't. Now stop and think about this. If you're making, say, $300-400 a car, average commission, if you get one a month, what's that? $3,600, $4,800 a year for taking 2 minutes? So those are the things that don't cost you any money to start. Okay, you want all those prospecting tools on the customers that when they buy a car. So now you got your old customers working for you. And then you're calling the whole family up on their birthday, and you got those prospecting tools in their hands or on their car or on the refrigerator. Now, looking for new customers that you never sold a car to, okay, there's where you can use the other things like I did. Okay, back to that page where I showed you the prospecting tools. Okay, yeah, that was me in 1978. I'm sorry, 1982 with the prospecting on the matches and stuff like that. That was just being creative. I have my name on pizza boxes. Beer coasters are great. You go out there, sure, they cost a couple $100, but how in the world can you give out, 3,000-4,000 beer coasters and not make a sale? You think about it. One sale pays for every prospecting tool of that one, and it's usually good for a year or 2 years. And that's what you want to do. So a little quick recap here. This is crucial because the more prospecting tools you do, the more phone calls and mailers you'll have. When I ask people all the time, hey, it's like some of these people that are making $25-30 grand a month. they're going to make a minimum of 80 phone calls a day. I mean, I wrote an article about Tiffany. She says she makes 200 phone calls in a day on a rainy day. The reason she can do that is she has people to call. Most of you know how to sell cars, but what you don't have is people to talk to. So you get the prospecting tools working, okay? And how you get the prospecting tools is every time you get paid, put a little bit of money in that prospecting account. It's best to sit down with the spouse if you have one, so the two shall become one. And then buy some prospecting tools. And then as the prospecting tools and stuff start to kick in, it'll give you more people to contact, so you now have mailers you can do, phone calls you can do, and things like that, so you don't have to stay in those huddles. And the little things I'm talking about, they're all like $5,000, $10,000 swings. You go get a sweatshirt or polo shirt once for $30. Hey, that's $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. If you look at every prospecting tool like a couple $1,000, and you get 10 tools going for you, like some of the ones that I have listed, man, that's nothing to make $50,000, $100,000 to start out. We've had a rookie, which Doug sold right around 400 cars his first year and made $200,000. So you don't have to be in the business a long time to make big money. You just have to think big. Now, he was one of the guys that spent several $1,000s. He's like the speaker we have September here in Dallas. He spent a couple thousand too. So if you want to do that, great, because you're going to get there where you want to go quicker. If you don't have a lot of money, like I didn't when I started out, do the couple things that I suggested that makes you money and doesn't cost you nothing. Facebook's an awesome tool if you use that correct. Me personally, I would spend $5 every week, and I would, advertise on Facebook. I would do it within, depending on the size of your town. I'd do it within 25 miles of a huge town if you live in a town with a couple 100,000 people. If you live in a small town, then I'd take it up to maybe 50 miles. I would put in there my specials of the week and put 2 cars on there. If I was selling cars, if the manager had a old age unit, that was a bonus. Guess what I'd be putting on Facebook? Same thing with YouTube. It doesn't cost anything. There's another gentleman in our group. He called me last month. He has over 2 million reviews on YouTube, and he said, Fran, it's the first time I did 40 cars a month. So I'm just giving you plenty of ideas of what you can do right off the bat, and it takes time. You got to break those bad habits and start those good ones. Listen, just write down a couple things that you want to do that you're not doing, and it takes a little bit of discipline, and just keep sticking with it. You go do it for 1 month, and after a while, it's a habit. To me, it's fun when you're going home at the end of the day and you didn't have to BS. The stuff that you're doing, whether it's putting them on YouTube, when the customer calls, you do a walk-around video, you're running around town with a sweatshirt on, you're calling everybody on their birthday. How can you have a bad attitude when you're making money and you're making more friends? So I know I went pretty fast, but I wanted to make sure I covered a lot today. But, Brian, you have any questions for some of the guys and gals there?
Yes. Fran, the first question is if which prospecting tool would be the best one to just get started with?
Well, I just said that. I'm going to go over that again. Look, the birthday cards are one. That way you at least, and you call everybody on their birthday. When I call somebody up, I'd say, hi, Brian, this is Fran Taylor from ABC Motors. How are you? Oh, I'm doing fine, Fran. Did you get my birthday card? Oh, yeah, hey, I appreciate it. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. By the way, who do you know looking to buy a new or used car? You see, that phrase right there makes everybody $5-10 a year just by saying that. So if you're not using that, and I don't care if a customer calls in, whatever, every time, whether you're on the phone or you're talking to somebody face-to-face, the last thing you should say every time is, hey, by the way, who do you know looking to buy a new or used car? So the birthday cards are obviously, and handwrite them too. Just don't lick them, stick them, and throw them out there. That's worthless. If your dealership does it, trust me when I tell you, it's better to handwrite it. The U.S. Post Office says 97% of the handwritten envelopes get opened because everybody's just like you and I. They go through the mail and they throw out the junk. Guess what? If you got to lick them, stick them from ABC Motors, they don't have a clue if that's an oil change, you're trying to sell you something, or whatever. So if you handwrite it, you're going to get a bigger response. The magnets, I think, are awesome to start. Magnets, key rings, and stickers. Those are the 3 things. I would get the magnet to start because they're on everybody's refrigerator. Well, they're about the same as far as which ones I picked. The magnets, the key ring, and the sold by stickers, because they're on that car. You see, how many times you get in your car a day? How many times you start your car? How many times you get in your refrigerator? Okay, if it's 10 times a day and you got five people in the family, that's 50 times. If you think that's a big number, take it times 250 customers. If you think that's a big number, take it times 365 days. You see, if you get the magnets, the key rings, and the stickers going, your name will be seen several million times a year. Impossible not to make money when you're doing the right kind of prospecting.
Right. This is Brian. Everybody, if you have any questions, please type them into the chat on the left side of your screen. And you're also welcome to email Fran or myself. Got another question here. Fran, how long did it take you to reach 30 cars? How long did it take you to reach 30 cars in your own career?
I think I hit 30 cars in my 9th or 10th month, but that was right around, my best month was in January, believe it or not, because I mailed, Lord knows, thousands of holiday cards, and then I called everybody up and said, hey, did you get my holiday card? Oh, by the way, who do you know looking to buy a New Year's car? I sold 53 in a January with snow and stuff up here. But I think it was right around 10 months that it took me to get to 30. Then, I mean, I didn't go from 30 to 50 overnight. Don't misunderstand me. I went 30, 32, 35, maybe back to 32, and then 38, and 40, 45, maybe back to 37. You know, I had up and downs, but my highs were higher, and my lows weren't as low. And I hated it because my bonuses used to start at 30 cars a month. But one thing my manager taught me, he said, hey, keep raising the bar. That's just like you guys and gals. Listen, I know what it's like to start with nothing. So when you start something like that, if you don't have the money, go bite the bullet and buy something. Buy the magnet 1 month, and then go buy the key rings the next month, and then go buy the stickers. But get in the habit for a year. If you're only going to buy one a month, you do it for an entire year. And I don't care where you're at, don't care what kind of product you're selling, don't care what size town you're in, people are going to crawl out of the woodwork coming to see you. You see, it says it's a fact that 92% of the customers don't remember your name 1 year later. I can't tell you how many times I'm in a dealership and somebody will say, hey, I bought a car here, but I forget the guy. So they go try and punch it in the CRM to see who sold it to them. Then you get in a big contest, a battle. I sold him 5 years ago. That's my customer. And then the manager say, well, hey, you didn't stay in contact with him. Go ahead and take the up. And then you got a battle. You don't have to be that way. You want to have a richer, fuller, happier life, just do the things that's guaranteed to make you more money. Remember what I said earlier? Spend more time on the things that make you more money and less times on the things that don't. So it's like Doug Hilliard here. Now listen to what I'm saying. He's on frantaylor.net. You'll see a video of him. You know, he sold 40 cars twice his first year in the car business. There's only 15,000 people in his town. So the faster you get on it, the faster you get in that system by doing the right habits and getting the right prospecting tools, the faster you make money, guaranteed.
Here, Fran, I got another one for you. Should you do your birthday and Christmas cards when you sell the car and hold on to them to mail?
Okay, I did that when if I sold somebody that year. Yes, I had to be honest with you, I had a paper bag. I would do that year as soon as they left. You see, anything that takes 2 minutes or less to do, I did right away. So I'd put on there, and I'd send them you can different. I send Christmas cards. Some people don't like that. Some people like holiday cards because it covers all religions. So however you want, but just make sure you get your name to them. I don't want to insult anybody. So at the end, I sent holiday cards, so I didn't insult anybody. But yeah, I would do those right off the bat, right from the beginning, and then you got to go back and you got to do not that many. At my case, it was like 2 years that I had to go back. And to be honest with you, you shouldn't wait. I started like in September. Do 1 month a day. So it takes 40. How long does it take to do 30, 40 letters? Not too long, 2 hours. I mean, you got all day. Just wipe them out and then it's done. But make sure when you're mailed them that you put a magnet in there. Or I used to put magnets in there and a picture of my matches on there. They would just laugh. But there's no right time to do it. Just make sure you get it done. It's just like doing the birthday cards. They ask all the time, what's the best time, in the morning or afternoon? Doesn't really matter, as long as it gets done.
Actually, Fran, I have a question for you. share with everybody on the call, what the cost of bad advice is.
Oh man,
I know you always love to say, what's the, don't worry about how much good advice costs, how much does bad advice cost you.
Well, I hear it all the time, and I'm not being disrespectful at all, but I see a lot of trainers out there. Some of these guys and gals never sold 20 cars a month, and they're telling you the wrong stuff. Half of the salespeople aren't lazy, not everybody. So you got to cherry pick who you get your advice from. If you have a heart problem, you don't go to a foot specialist. I see all the time these guys and gals, they really want to learn, and they're investing in themselves by buying books. But like Zig Ziglar, I love Zig, but you know what? He's not a car guy. So it's like going to a foot doctor when you got a heart problem. Yes, he could motivate you, but stop and think about it. I don't need motivation. I need more than that. If you're coming to work and you don't have a plan, where's your attitude go at 2 o'clock if it's raining all day? Out the window. So you got to get with somebody, the movers and shaker that's done it. And what I mean by that, it's like I said earlier, those trainers, I don't know anybody in the world, to be honest with you, that sold 7 cars in one day and went in and didn't have one appointment. That's a trainer. They couldn't tell you what that's like if their life depended on it. Okay, I know what it's like, so I'm telling you, this prospecting stuff works. You'll come into work, it doesn't have to be a Saturday. You'll have people coming in that you don't have an appointment for because you stuck by the prospecting, and they're going to say, hey, friend, do you have any trucks out there? Yeah, so advice does cost you something if you got bad advice. So, not that I'm the best in the world, but I don't know any trainer that was a GM, a used car manager, and sold 25 cars a month, let alone 50. So I'm telling you, there's a difference between living in the woods and visiting the woods. You need to get with those movers and shakers. We have a lot of this information on my website, frantaylor.net. If you check that out, you'll see a lot of testimonials on there. What I recommend is I hope everybody has my book. So start with that book, do the 11 goals, and then those prospecting ideas. I mean, I have a half hour solid. Hey, here's what I did. I show you how I get my name on pizza boxes. I'd sell 6 to 10 a month from that. I mean, I had all kind of little things. There's fish bowls on there that I used. I had little mirrors that say, "You look beautiful today," that I gave all the women. And I can't tell you all the other stuff, but, start with that. Go invest in yourself. What you have there is 30 years of me traveling across the United States, Canada, Virgin Islands, all over the place. I met the best of the best, and they're not all my ideas, but a lot of them that I met from people that were better than me. And that's the hardest thing that I had to do when I got into the training. I thought I was it. I got to tell you, I met guys that made me look like a high school kid. I met a guy in Phoenix, Arizona one time, said, Fran, I don't do any of that, and I sell 60 cars a month. I said, well, what are you doing? And he said, I sing happy birthday to all my clients. My voice sucks, but they all know who I am. Now stop and think about that. There's something that doesn't cost you nothing, that this old boy, I could tell he was on fire, and he was selling 60 cars a month. So there's some more advice that you don't cost you anything. And to me, if I get back in cars, trust me, I would do it because I can relate to them because my voice isn't the best either.
Fran, how do you feel about advertising on your personal car?
Well, there again, Adam Ransom, I know a lot of guys. Now, he's down in North Carolina. Great guy. In fact, I think we had him on our show one time. But, there was a guy making $35,000 a month. He was a preacher guy, great guy. And I went to church with him one Wednesday night on the way back. I said to him, hey, what good is it to pray to God for something if you get the answer and don't do nothing about it? And he just looked at me. The next morning he said, I think I understand what you're talking about. So we talked about prospecting. The very next year he shot to over $100,000 a year, bought himself a new Mercedes, and he bought 2 rental properties. And on the side of that Mercedes, he had a picture of himself and said, need a new or used car, see Adam Ransom. And it was Peterson Toyota Chrysler, and that was in his phone number, and that was in Lumberton, North Carolina. So I have a lot of people that I see guys spend a lot of money wrapping their car. I mean, that's okay, but personally, I would get all the prospecting tools. I mean, you could buy a lot of prospecting tools for $1,000, and they'll stay with you forever. You put a magnet on a car, you can take it off one, put it on another. I mean, I know several people that wrap their car. I don't know if that's working for them or not. I sure hope so. I would never say something like that doesn't work, but man, for $1,000, $2,000, you could probably buy most of those tools I was talking about, and I'll guarantee you get it back. Why have one tool when you can have multiple tools working for you? But yeah, I've seen guys do that, but that's not my first choice, but that's by far.
Great. Well, hey, everybody, this is Brian again. Hey, if you're not a member of 30 Sales a Month on Facebook, please take the time to join. We've got a community of, what are we, about 3,600 now, Fran?
No, it's 38.
3,800 people that are passionate about becoming better at selling cars. And it's a great place where if you need an idea for, a way to take a phone up, if you need an idea, if you want some feedback on a personal logo or magnets before you order them, that's what that forum is for. It's a whole bunch of and it's all positive. We don't get into any of the drama like some of the other parts of Facebook. And so we ask, just if you got a question or if you've got a great idea or something's working good for you, share it with people. If you need advice on something, ask a question. There's a lot of people that are really performing at the top levels in the country that are on 30 Sales a Month on Facebook, and you can get great advice on any topic that has to do with selling cars. Also, you'll also be notified through 30 Sales a Month of upcoming webinars. Fran and I like to grab somebody, like when somebody first hits 30 cars or 40 cars, when somebody really hits like a milestone in their life, in their selling career, we like to honor them and have them on to a webinar where they can share, exactly how they did it, and hopefully, you'll be able to take away some ideas that'll help you get there too. And when you do get there, please let me know because we'll do a webinar with you. Fran, is there anything else you'd like to share before we let everybody go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all of you for listening. I got a couple of messages here from some of you guys, and I really appreciate that. Some of you might be on here that don't know me. My website's frantaylor.net. You check that out, and by all means, if you ever have any question about any of the training stuff, you give me a shout. If I'm not here, leave your name and number, and I personally will get back to you. So you all have a fantastic day.
Thank you, everybody.